You know, Tong had this tweet. I thought a real beast tweet. I gotta be quite honest with you, chat. Where he says, tonight's PSA, FGC commentators, don't say what's the mix every single time there's an opportunity for a mix-up. You're the commentator. Add to my viewing experience. Don't ask the same question that I, the viewer, am wondering as well. Have you ever heard someone on commentary say, what's gonna happen next? Like, oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Every time I hear that, in my head, I always just think, I don't fucking know. You tell me. What could even happen next? I have no idea. The key thing here is every single time that there's an opportunity for a mix-up. I think that this is a fine thing to say occasionally. But here's the deal. Fighting games, just as they're, you know, in the nature of how fighting games are fucking mad fast. You don't have a lot of time in them for super in-depth analysis always off the time. You don't have a lot of time to explain what's going on or what the player is doing or what's happening. So every second that passes by as a commentator in a fighting game is golden. You really have to take that opportunity to explain things. It's your job to like sew together many different ideas and situations as quickly as you can. You can almost always just answer the question yourself. Instead of saying what's the mix, you could say, okay, like this could be a left or a right. It could be overhead or low. It could be this. Let's say Millia gets a knockdown and she's in the corner. You can say, okay, you can cross up here to get out of the corner. And then Millia air dashes over to cross it. Like that's a likely thing that could happen. So as a commentator, you would weigh that option heavier to bring up because it's a common thing that people do, and it also is for position. Or instead of talking about what the available offensive things are, you can bring up what the defender's options are. This character got the knockdown. However, burst is on the table. There's meter to uppercut. There's meter to super. This character has this kind of, a really good backdash or an invulnerable uppercut, etc., etc. This person's been favoring this option a lot. Like during Evo, you will remember that Hitachi was waking up with backdash like maybe 70% of the time or something. We've seen that backdash is weighted so heavily. You got to point it out. It's like a very common option so that when backdash is not done or like a mix-up is there to like somebody chases the backdash, you're like, oh, okay, that was a great adjustment to what happened. If you instead just say, oh, what's the mix-up going to be? Oh, we got hit low. Like if that's your question and answer every time, you're missing on opportunities to take what could be like a question into an answer into a more thorough explanation of what could happen and why. Almost anything besides just like what's the mix every time is good. And you can say what's the mix because I think it establishes like, okay, this character's going to go for a mix-up and this person has to guess or whatever. But I think almost always if you're going to say something like what's the mix or like, all right, it's this person has a mix-up opportunity, it should be followed immediately by something valuable. It's easy to get caught in this in the same way that like, nice combo, he gets that, okay, what's the mix gonna be? Oh, he gets hit, nice, okay, he's gonna carry him to the, wow, that did a lot of damage, cool, he gets the knockdown here, mixed again, nice, okay, closed it out, cool, that was a good round. It's easy to just go into nice this and a nice that and a nice that because to say anything else, right, or to say something else about the mix-up, you have to have further game knowledge or you have to have a further understanding of the situation. The same advice I would give about nice is if you're going to say nice X, you should explain why or extrapolate. You got to hit something important. You don't have time to say that many things that aren't important in commentary. It's easy on commentary to do this because while you're commentating, you have to understand you have to process the entire match, the situation at hand, all the resources, the player decisions. And then instead of just like processing all of that and just saying, nice this, you have to process all of that and then turn that into a cohesive sentence, thought, analysis, etc. of the situation. Any advice for just when just footsies are happening on commentary? Yeah, so it's the same thing as commentating a match that's like mostly knockdown pressure, right? Like your objective is to explain the best tools and like why they're trying to use them and like what the player is looking to set up and like why is Momochi hitting back heavy kick so much? And it's like, well, back heavy kick's fast, it's got high priority, it's a great button, it pulls him back far after. If Momochi is like hammering away with this button, then the other player has to walk back to try to whiff punish it, which means Momochi can then walk up to take space instead. Or this person has to preemptively poke to beat it. And if they're preemptively poking, Momochi can buffer his own button or whiff punish it. And if they're walking back to try to beat it, then you can walk even further forward and then jam your back heavy kick or just take the space. I don't even have to see the screen to say that. I can tell you why he's hitting back heavy kick without even seeing the match on the screen. Again, you have to have some game knowledge to know to do that. Because if you don't, then it's just going to be like, wow, Momochi's hitting a lot of back heavy kick right here. He really likes that button and it's paying off. The difference between the two is like pretty night and day. It's just like, you know what I think about as like nice or what's the mix? It's like once upon a time. You can't once upon a time me and then just stop. Once upon a time, You better not end there or I'm gonna be pissed. I mean, not everybody commentated in a way that's serious at first. Most commentators when we started, we were just fucking random people. They were like, hey, you, get on the mic. You right there. Stop, criminal scum. And they just drag you over to the mic. Fucking Oblivion guards. You're like, what? Stop. You violated the law. And then you have to go do it. You're like, all right, I'll do it. I'm down. I'll make it happen.